Blue Lock is a very unique series with its one-of-a-kind approach to team sports, where unlike what came before, it doesn't focus on teamwork and winning some sort of a championship. Rather, Blue Lock has a very realistic approach that focuses on the individual stories, but also the way the show handles success with a simple yet very true premise. You can't be the best in the world without being the ultimate egoist. And in fact, the whole project was created to breed the egoist that would lead Japan to its first World Cup win. As such, it is only natural that this environment will be filled with big egoists. And in today's video we are going to go over the top 10 players with the biggest egos. Not just among the U20 players, but this list will include the pros as well. But before we get to the list, let's lay some rules. Players who have only stated to have big egos like the World 5 and Ego Jinpachi will not be included, as this list is feats only. And also, before anyone comments, Noah, Snuffy and Loki will not be included as well, as they are pure professionals in their approach to football and not really egoists. And so with that out of the way, let's dig in. At number 10 we have the Red Panther Chigiri Hyoma, the perfect player to start with, as his ego is probably one of the simplest despite being one of the biggest. Chigiri wants to be the best striker in the world, pure and simple. This ego pushes him to improve his ultimate weapon, that is his exceptional speed. From the humble beginnings where he just ran to his heart's content, to the current Red Panther who has better balance, faster acceleration and by extension insane zigzags and dribbling. But more importantly, his ego has always made him a threat. We have seen multiple times how he is beyond getting controlled or conforming to any system. His ego always bursts him into new gears of speed, no pun intended. Even when training under Prince, the second best player in the world, and in a system that is focused on Nagi, Chigiri imposed himself as the true star of the team, and this is what this list is about. An ego that pushes you to dominate and be the best. And the only reason Chigiri is at number 10 is the fact that his ego takes the simplest form. And also, it doesn't engulf his whole life like some of the other players on higher ranks. At number 9 we have the fallen hero Kunigami Rensuke, who went a complete 180 from a very kind-hearted player who wants everything in life to be just and fair, to an emo kid who is the extreme form of egoism. Kunigami now also believes that he shouldn't befriend anyone and that he doesn't need anyone to dominate and perform. You could say he developed a lone wolf mentality, which is a weird take on ego, as even bigger egoists don't share this secluded mindset. They might refuse to give passes, however they are more than happy to receive them, score and shine. But our emo kid believes that he can sweep the whole field alone, which is again weird with his skill set, and as such he results into stealing opportunities. Now, unlike Chigiri, we don't see Kunigami improve that much. After coming from the wildcard training, looking like an absolute beast and a fiend, he remained the same person throughout the NEL, while most players that participated improved drastically. Add to that in chapter 248, Ego Jinpachi told Kunigami to lose his ego. And so from this, despite the hype surrounding his ego, I really can't place him any higher. At number 8 we have Kunigami's rival, Shido Ryusei, who much like our emo kid has the purest form of ego, without the stupid lone wolf mentality. Shido lives for the goals. Shido breathes the sensation of kicking the ball into the net. Simply put, Shido was born to be a striker, and with an ego on a level that enables him to dominate, and to be the oppressive player that he is. However, I have to say this, being this passionate about football, Shido can't help but show a lot of emotion towards the sport. He becomes very aggressive and even gets physical with those who can't ignite his heart with awesome plays. But at the same time he becomes a little girl when he sees impressive plays, and this is my point of contention with him. His ego is great and pushes him to improve, however the fact that he gets excited when facing strong opponents rather than wanting to surpass them is a bit of a letdown. This makes his ego somewhat inconsistent, while other players live and die with their egos. One big example of this is that in the third selection we saw when Isagi beat him and Rin to the ball and scored, Shido got excited and complimented Isagi, while Rin was livid and did not have any of it, as his ego refused to play seconds to anyone. Speaking of which, at number 7 we have Rin Itoshi. I know, shocking. What the actual hell? Rin is at number 7? Well, first you have to remember that this list includes the pros. But also the thing with Rin is that his ego is insane. As we can see, he wants to be number 1 and he wants to be the center of the world. And we clearly see him improve and fight with all of his might for his goal, and has the making to be on top of this list if it wasn't for one tiny bit, where he is too fixated on his brother. Rin has always played for the sake of Sai. When he was a kid, he wanted to join him and be number one with his brother, and after the Itoshi family implosion, he wanted to destroy him, which in my book is a very fragile ego. Even Sai himself pointed that out. The fact that his ego is dependable on anyone but himself is very questionable. Your ego should revolve around one singular thing, being the best and nothing but the absolute best. Rin's dependability on Sai is just a ticking bomb and nothing else. Once he beats or makes Sai acknowledge him, all that edginess he has will just disappear, and we saw this to a lesser extent with Nagi. Granted, at the end of the U20 game, he showed what a full-on egoist Rin would look like, with his berserker state, where he threw away everything from Sai to the competition to his friends. All he wanted was destruction and for him to be number one. However, that only was momentarily, and after the game he went back to worshiping Sai. And when he saw him praise Isiki, he went mad and swore to destroy him, which again is another dependability, and it's not even like a rivalry thing. Hell, not even Isiki sees things that way. Rin wants to destroy Yoichi, while Isiki wants to surpass him and be number one. And for that, I can't in good conscience place Rin any higher, as long as his ego is revolving around someone else. Speaking of Isigi, at number 6 we have the main character of our beloved show, Isigi Yoichi. And this is where things get interesting for our list, as from now on all the players have insane egos, and all of those egos push them to be the best. And well, Isigi is no different. In fact, he is a player that his ego took him from the most average player ever to a literal menace. And we can see how it made him rebel against the odds multiple times, and even made him wipe the floor with beasts like Kaiser. And honestly, there are only two reasons for why I'm placing Isigi this low. First is the fact that his ego has not fully burst into existence. Even though it is impressive, as I explained in this video, Isigi's ego has been sealed at a young age, and so he needs to fully reawaken it like Rin did in the U20 game. And if he does, I have no doubt Isigi can get a higher rank and even be number one on our list. Granted, he gets rid of the second contagion point, which is him outside the field. Well, as we all know, Isigi is an egoist, however that's only on the field. Outside games, however, Yoichi is such a sweetheart and he is a very nice and humble person. Unlike higher ups on this list, whom their ego engulfed their whole existence on and off matches, and are all worthy of being at the top 5. Starting up at number 5 with the other half of the Itoshi family, Sai, who in total contrast to Isigi is a full-on egoist, on and off the field. Sai cares about nothing but to be the best forward midfielder and give insane passes to the strikers. Not even his brother is on his mind, and funny enough, he has always been this edgy since he was a kid. And also, unlike other egoists, he is actually in control of his emotions, which makes his performance stable and worthy of getting him a spot as the forward midfielder of the new Gen 11. And I already see you typing your raging comments. How is Sai 5th when he got his ego crushed when he went and played for Real? Well, first, you're right, and this is the reason he is at number 5 and not first. But let me explain. Having his ego of being the best striker crushed doesn't mean he had a fragile ego. In fact, he didn't give up on being the best, but rather he realized that his skill set is better suited for a forward midfielder, and he aims to be the best there, which in itself is a very strong ego, and we actually see it engulfing his whole life as well. But due to the competitive nature of this list, we can't have Sai any higher. But at number 4 we have Michael Kaiser, another new Gen 11. And trust me, even I am shocked that Kaiser ended up at this placement. When I had the idea for this video, I was thinking Kaiser wins this easily. However, after doing my research, it became clear to me that having any problem with your ego, no matter how small, will lower your rank. As for Kaiser, despite having the biggest ego, yes, the biggest, it is not yet refined due to one weakness he has, which was explained by Prince when they got face to face. You see, Kaiser has an inferiority complex. He treats players below him like trash and acts superior and all. However, when facing a strong opponent, he turns into a coward, like we saw him do with Prince, Noah and Lorenzo. And even though he is the best striker we have seen thus far in the U20 category, this weakness of his is keeping him from entering the top 3, who are all players with unstained egos. So, at number 3 we have Lavinio the Dancer. Now I want to iterate that the top 3 are all interchangeable, as they have all shown big egos on and off the fields and with low to no defects. Pure egoists that have been the best as their only goal. And the only reason I have Levi at number 3 is the fact that unlike the other two, he had less showing. Still, he has shown an insane ego, with him believing he is the best in the world, and then actually facing Noah both on offense and on defense without backing off and with his resolve being high. He also got shivers from the Kaiser impact and wanted to play even against 18-year-olds and wanted to show off in their little league, something he shares with the number 2 on our list. Chris Prince, the perfect hero, and the player currently ranked as number 2 in the FIFA annual ranking. To be perfectly honest, I don't even know where to start with Chris. The guy breathes and eats ego all day, every day, and he tries to show off how great he is all the times. He wants to be the best at every aspect and even pushed his body to the maximum status, and he obviously has the results to show for it. I honestly have nothing more to say about Chris's ego. It's just enormous, well-rounded and with no defects. And hey, he can be number 1 for all that it matters, as he too has the feats to show for it. And the only reason he's not is just the fact that this is probably the only list where a U20 player can win over the pros. And so I'm obviously jumping on the occasion. But I want you guys not to confuse things. This doesn't take anything from our winner, and he is well deserving of the number 1 spot. So at number 1, and the player crowned as the biggest egoist in Blue Lock, we have Baro Shoei. I mean, who else is more deserving of this spot? And funny enough, he is the first character other than the MC to be introduced as a full-on egoist. He got introduced as this edgy, ruthless guy that believes that everyone should worship the very ground he walks on. But more importantly, he truly thought that he is the best there is. And when this mighty image came crumbling at the hand of Isagi, Baro was the first player we see have his ego rebel against the odds and pushes him further and unlock a new path for him. Just this image of his ego holding him from delivering the leading role to Isagi is enough for me to place him this high. However, it does not end here with Baro's ego. It is just like Levi and Prince's ego in that it is not stained. It's not unstable like Shiro's, it's not reliant on anyone like Rin's, it has never been crushed like Sai's, it has fully manifested unlike Isagi, and it is big enough to lead the whole team through a rebellion. And also, in total contrast to Kaiser, Baro does not fear no one, and we can even see him step up to ego and the pros. Hell, the best in the world, Mark Snuffy. In fact, him and Bajira are the only 2 that we see him step up to their masters. And so for Baro, his ego is the complete package. It's enormous, it's got the right target, and it is pushing him to go against even the best of the best, and without a doubt makes him well deserving of the number 1 spot on our list. So that's it for the list and the video, guys. Do you agree with my picks? Tell me down in the comments, and until next time, thank you for watching.